series, Katz Conversations, where we take a deeper dive into getting to know our women's health experts on a more personal level. My name is Sharon Zarabi Fern, and I'm your host today. And I have the pleasure of sitting with Dr. Jean Cacciabaudo, a trained cardiologist who is also one of our original Katz members, who is also the vice president and chief medical officer of the South Shore University Hospital. Dr. Cacciabaudo, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you so much for the invitation to join you. Yes, I am one of the OG members of the Katz Institute and very proud of that. Although the years are now accumulating, so I'm not sure I want to keep track of how many years it's been. But
We
so happy to be here. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
well, we're honored to have you, and again, it's been a pleasure to just see how everything has evolved over the course of years. And I mean, I'm going to dive right in. You're a trained cardiologist. What drew you to women's health?
So my mom and how appropriate that we're doing this for May and celebrating Mother's Day. But my mom is a nurse or was a nurse, and she was a woman of influence. And as I was growing up, I really wanted to be like my mom, and she decided that I should aspire higher than nursing. As she shared to me, um, I want you to give the orders, not take the orders. Obviously, at the age of 5, that meant nothing to me. I just wanted to wear her starched white cap that looked so cool. But yeah, I think a lot of girls want to emulate their mom. And she just took it to the next level. She would read to me from her nursing textbooks and let me use a stethoscope and listen to pretty much anything or anyone's heart. And so she really instilled that initial kind of inspiration.
I love that. So it's you took medicine. Medicine was already in your family, and you took it to another level. And she was right. You never want to take orders. It's better to
I
to
mean,
give them.
sometimes you have to take orders too, but it is very satisfying to be in the driver's seat, most of the time. Like,
And if you did not pursue the field of medicine, what other personal interests do you have?
well, certainly in college, I went to a big liberal arts college, and really my eyes were opened up to a lot of different disciplines like philosophy and theology. And there were moments when I would, call home and say, hey, I think I'm going to change my major to philosophy. Now, my dad, who was a dentist and an incredibly practical man, I think was like losing his mind, being like, what are you doing with a philosophy degree? And so I thought teaching would be great. And honestly, probably didn't really appreciate that in a career in medicine, you get to do both. You are a teacher for your patients and their family members, but in an academic setting, you get to teach and influence the next generation.
Yeah, no, you are teaching. I mean, as a cardiologist, you're teaching people how to take care of their hearts.
Yeah, be a little smarter in your choices, as well.
And I mean, I can only imagine, being a doctor and being so passionate about what you do and seeing the high volume of patients, because when you're good at what you do, everybody wants to see you. There's this true burnout that physicians feel. So how do you manage, work-life balance? How do you take
Yeah.
care of yourself?
I guess for me, it starts with just abolishing that idea of balance because certainly in my own life, there's not much is in balance. It's really just like maybe a little chaos over here and a little more controlled chaos down here. But it's really about integrating my, what's really important to me, which is my family and my loved one, and balance and equalize that with my passion for medicine and my career. Both kind of have equal value and importance and really define who I am. And so sometimes I need to be more mom, and sometimes I need to be more, physician and physician leader.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love what you just said. It's not a balance. It's integrating those two worlds. Wow. And if you're not working, you said, you said you have family. How do you spend that time when you're with them?
So Sicilian, and I used to spend, most of my Sundays growing up at my grandmother's house, where she really was the center of our family. She had 6 children, and everyone would come to her house for Sunday dinner. And so I love to recreate those coming together around food. I love to cook. Yeah, probably my wheelhouse is Italian, but I'm trying to explore new techniques. I will admit I have yet to master a sauce or a gravy. I really Thanksgiving. I host Thanksgiving every year, and I always try to make gravy, but I always have a couple of jars ready to go because
As a backup.
I'm gonna need them. And that's okay. Like, no shame in cheating. Life is hectic and busy, and so thank God we have a lot of shortcuts for us.
Yes, yes. So what would be you say is your favorite Italian dish to cook?
My favorite Italian dish to cook is, probably something, meatballs and sauce. I think is my family's favorite. But I love to bread and fry chicken cutlets and eggplant. I know I'm a cardiologist. I just That's like a very bad cardiology word, fry. But sometimes you got to have
Everything in
deliciousness
balance, everything in moderation.
in moderation.
It does
Exactly.
definitely add flavor to the food, and I think the secret ingredient that you made, and I'm sure your grandmother or mother would attest to this, is I always say it's love, right? It's that sprinkle of love in the sauce or as a topping that really enhances that flavor. It's the time that you put into it.
Absolutely.
And,
And
and
as satisfying as it is to, guide a patient and their loved ones through a difficult, medical course, um, sitting back at the dining room table and seeing, it's a room full of happy, well-fed is equally satisfying for me.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, they say the way to a man's heart is his stomach. So
Yes. Well, so I've been married 25, yeah, coming on 26 years. And just recently my husband has finally acknowledged that I can cook some things as well as his mom, but not most things. So she has been the bar that I have constantly, been set up again.
yeah, I
She's
think for
also a
you,
nurse too, so there's something about
because that's in the family.
yeah.
Lots of commonalities. And just it sounds like a lot, right? Being fully present for family, being fully present for your patients. You have an administrative role, so being present to staff and employees. Uh, what do you do for like self-care?
I love Pilates. I try to go to the gym for myself, obviously, but also because I feel it's really important that I walk the talk that I give my patients. Um, I love reading. I love traveling, and every year I attempt a garden. And this year I'm going to put so much calcium in my soil that I don't get bottom rot on my tomatoes. I'm gonna get but the last 2 years have been challenging. It was either too hot and humid, or the year before that was really rainy. So hopefully we'll have perfection in our weather, and I can have a bumper crop of delicious tomatoes that then I can go and use with either tomato and mozzarella or a fresh tomato sauce.
Yes, I was just going to ask you if you're using those tomatoes for your own homemade sauce. That's great. Yeah, the planting they say is also very, very relaxing, right? Because you're engaged and you're using your hands and
Yeah.
no, I love
It's fun to get dirty,
that. Yeah. And all right, so this is the my favorite part of our segment. We're going to do a rapid fire. So you're going to just give me the first thing that comes to mind, and just for us to know you again on a more casual level. Are you into sweet or salty?
I am a salty
Okay.
and
Uh,
savory.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee always.
Favorite season?
Fall. Love sweater weather.
Book or movie?
A book. Because I prefer to make the castings myself and not have to enjoy the casting and imagination of another
Okay, you can put that creativity to each character. Podcast or music?
music.
Any
Always.
specific genre?
I have a pretty broad
If
taste.
you're in the car, just jamming away.
Yeah. I mean, I will pretty much listen to anything from classical to jazz. I think my favorite artist, if that was going to be the next question, is probably Sarah McLachlan, and Elton John. Those are
Yeah,
my
okay, the good ones. Yeah, classics. Classics. All right. I love those answers. I'm sure they resonate with a lot of our audience. Is there any other, takeaways or any advice that you'd like to give any of our viewers about just general health, wellness, and women's health?
Absolutely. I've been giving this advice for as long as I've been a cardiologist and working with the American Heart Association and now the Katz Institute for Women's Health. And that is two things. Trust your gut. You know your body better than anyone else. And if you have this sense that whatever you're experiencing is different, more severe, or attached with this sense of foreboding, please go to the emergency room. Just take that time, and your instincts are typically spot on. The second piece of advice is that we are very lucky that we live in the metropolitan New York area, and there are so many good doctors that are in this area. If you are in a relationship with a healthcare provider that just isn't satisfying, doesn't feel good, you don't feel like your concerns are being heard or taken seriously, please find another partner. Because I know if you go to a hair salon and you get a bad haircut, you are not going back. And so why not do the same for your partner in health? It is a very trusted, important, obviously life-saving relationship.
Oh my gosh, your patients must love you and adore you for that because you used a word that people I don't think use when it comes to talking about their providers or clinicians or doctors, whatever. It's a relationship, right? It's that communication of being saying what you feel and being heard and not dismissed.
Absolutely. Listen, well-being and wellness is truly a journey, and so you want the best wingman with you as you're taking that journey.
Ah, that's a perfect closing. Yes, and if anyone's looking for a women's health expert that's part of the Katz Institute for Women's Health, they can go on our directory and our website and find clinicians just like yourself.
Absolutely. I have the best colleagues in the world.
Oh, well, thank Dr. Cacciabaudo. This was so lovely to just, again, get to know you on a personal level. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.